Good afternoon, everybody. Again, my name is Randy Grones. I work with the Strategic Projects Division in our South Central office in San Antonio, and I'll be talking to you all today about the Corpus Christi District's project for the replacement of the Harbour Bridge. Just to kind of give you a general overview of the project, basically the project the developer is going to develop, design, construct, and maintain about 6.5 miles of the entire project limits. And to kind of get you oriented where the project is. Is this showing up? Okay. This east-west, that is Interstate 37 coming from San Antonio. This section down here is Highway 286, which is known as Crosstown Expressway there in Corpus Christi. Out here in the water, that's about where the Lexington sits. Right about here is where Whataburger Field is right there. So today, if you're traveling across the Harbour Bridge, you're coming on 37, you kind of come towards the downtown area. We have a couple of sharp S-curves there to get to the bridge. You cross the bridge, and then there's another series of S-curves to get you back on 181 to head up towards Portland. For this project, basically if you were on Crosstown Expressway heading north, instead of having to exit to 37, you'll just continue straight north across 37. Where'd my pointer go? There it is. Go north, go just on the west edge of where Whataburger Field is today. Start veering off to the northeast, go straight across the harbor, and then it'll line up straight with 181 heading up towards Portland. Basically everything in red is what will be included in the project. The new Harbour Bridge was going to be 6 lanes wide. 181 will also be 6-lane section. There'll be an expressway section with frontage roads. We're going to rebuild 1.6 miles of Interstate 37 and about 1 mile of Crosstown Expressway. There'll be a new interchange at the point where 181, Crosstown Expressway, and 37 come together. And then once traffic is moved to the new bridge, the old bridge will be demolished and removed. There are a couple of option works that are associated with this project. The first option is at the request of the city of Corpus Christi. It's going to be some work on Broadway Boulevard from Harbour Drive down to Interstate 37. And then also, if you're out there today and you're on 37, before you make those S-curves to go across the bridge, if you wanted to go downtown, you kind of veer to the right and you hit kind of a boulevard section that you just naturally slow down. So since we have that new interchange, you'll be back there at where Crosstown and 181 cross 37. We're looking at possibly making that a boulevard section. So once you cross through that interchange, you'll naturally start slowing down before you get to that downtown area. Part of the contract is operations and maintenance, and it's a 25-year contract. And for the funding for the project, $984 million were identified. Here's just the typical section for the project. Again, expressway section on 181, 3 lanes each direction with your typical frontage roads, 2 lanes. And then 3 lanes each direction on the bridge with wide shoulders. And we're also going to have a shared use path on the east side of the bridge, so you'll have a view of the Lexington and the Bay Area out there. For the operations and maintenance, basically everything on the previous slide that was shown in red is what they will be responsible for maintaining. That'll be the new bridge. It'll be all that in red for 181, Interstate 37, and the 1 mile of Crosstown Expressway. And it's fixed pricing, and basically it's 2015 pricing for the project, and then it will be escalated each year to keep up with inflation. And like I said, it includes everything. It's the roadway routine maintenance, preventative maintenance for the project, capital maintenance, the renewal, and then of course there are handback requirements at the end of the 25 years. We're not going to design the bridge for 26 years and then we get it back and redo it again 1 year later. Okay, we're supposed to have a polling question here. Actually, the question, I'm not sure why it's not working, was the question, what year was existing Harbour Bridge opened up? And actually the answer was B, 1959. Construction started in 56. It took until 59 to complete it when it was opened up and replaced an old existing drawbridge there in the canal. At that time, it carried 47,000 cars a day, and it was done for a whopping price of $9 million. At the time, it was the largest single project in TxDOT history. So the price has gone up a little bit. Some of the issues with the bridge: it is a fracture critical structure. It provides 138 foot of clearance today between the water and the bottom of the bridge. If you've been out there and got behind an 18-wheeler, you've noticed a 5% grade to climb up to that bridge in that short amount of time, or the short distance. And it currently does not meet the FHWA or TxDOT roadway and design standards. And here's just a picture taken in 1959, right after it was opened. You can see the existing drawbridge that was still in place and is opened up to let the ship through, to give you a little historical perspective on the job. There was an extensive amount of public outreach done by the Corpus Christi district over many years for this project. This project is, kind of an iconic structure for the Corpus Christi district. A lot of people, associate, they see the picture of the Harbour Bridge and they know it's Corpus Christi. It's one of those things that just easily identifies Corpus Christi. And so there was an extensive amount of public reach over many years associated with the project. From 2005 to 2011, the Corpus Christi district had 4 public agency scoping meetings. They formed a citizens advisory committee, which met 6 times during 2011 to 2014. During that same period, they also had a technical advisory committee, which met 5 times. Prior to the draft EIS in 2012, they had 8 neighborhood meetings. And then again, between the public meeting for the draft EIS and then the public hearing in 2014, they held another 8. They held 2 public meetings with the city of Corpus Christi just for park mitigation. Then we had the public meeting in 2012, and then followed up by the public hearing in February of 2014. And then just to get some extra comment, an extra period out there, they extended it an extra 30 days just to have an extra time to get more public input on the project. Once the decision was made to pursue this as a design build project, this is kind of a brief history of the steps that we went through. On end of March 2014, we issued the request for qualifications of the RFQ. A couple months those came in about a month we evaluated them, and in June of 2014 we shortlisted 4 proposer teams. Then over the course of the summer we finalized the RFP, and that was published on October 2nd, 2014. And then through the fall and in the springtime we held our one-on-one meetings and met with the developers and had project tours and stuff like that. And we received the final, the proposals came in. It was broken up due to the size of this project. It was a 2-piece submission. First we got the technical proposals on March 24th of 2015, and then about 2 weeks later the price proposals were submitted. On April 30th, 2015, we recommended the best value proposer and got a conditional award. And then 2 weeks ago, we finally executed the contract on September 28th. For those of you that have been involved in the process to evaluate the proposals once they come in, the term rigorous procedure is a bit of an understatement. It is a tremendous amount of information that has to be reviewed and evaluated, and it is a monumental task to go through all of that. Part of it is it's broken up into different pieces. Different groups look at different pieces of information, and you only see that piece of information. For example, we had a pass-fail committee. The technical committee for this project was actually 2 different teams to look at 2 different parts of it. There was an aesthetic committee, and then of course a price evaluation committee. So you only saw your part of the proposal, and that's what you were evaluating. And to be very clear, they're separate, and we're unaware of how each committee scores each other's, or scores your particular part. And it is a pre-established grading criteria before the proposals come in. The criteria set and how they're going to be graded is set and known at a higher level as the weight of each criteria. For example, the committee I was on, we had 18 criteria to evaluate for the piece of the proposals that we were looking at. So you don't know which part is weighted heavier than others. You just have your criteria, how to evaluate it, and you grade it, and then it goes to the higher committees where it goes into the matrix for the score. After your committee, comes up with your recommendation on each criteria. The chairperson goes to the ESRC, and you present your recommendation to them, and then from there they present it to what's called the Project Steering Committee, and it's the Project Steering Committee is the one that makes the recommendation to the Texas Transportation Commission. To get the apparent best value determination for this project, a perfect score would have been 100. 80% of the score was the price, 20% was the technical proposal, including the aesthetics. The price did include the design, construction, and the maintenance costs for the project. And the technical, the different packages. You have the aesthetics, the technical solutions, the project management plan, the quality management plan, the maintenance management plan, and their sustainability plan. And once all the scores were tallied, the apparent best value proposal team was a joint venture between Flatiron Constructors and Dragados USA. And then listed here is also a bunch of the other team members that are on this particular team. So I guess if you are just really dying to work on the Harbor Bridge, this might be an important slide for you to write down, some people to send some resumes to. If your boss is sitting next to you, and it would be not good for you to be writing down this stuff, send me some email later. I have my contact, and I'll send you this information, keep you out of trouble. Part of this project, it is a very iconic structure, and this will be a signature bridge for the Corpus Christi area. So as part of that, in order to get input from the community and kind of level the playing field on what would be submitted as far as the aesthetic plan, the Corpus Christi district developed what they call their blue ribbon panel. And this panel was going to be the one that set the aesthetic requirements for the project. And this panel consisted of the mayor of Corpus Christi, the chairperson for the Port of Corpus Christi, and two of the local county judges in the area. And they're the ones that they met ahead of time. They set the requirements for it, and those got incorporated into the RFP. Some of the major components that went into the aesthetics was the shared use path. Along the shared use path along the side of the bridge, they wanted to add a belvedere up there, which is basically just a little viewing area at the top of the bridge. Then they also evaluated the actual the look of the exotic bridge structure, and then the lighting concepts. For those of you that are familiar with the existing bridge out there in Corpus Christi, several years ago they added a bunch of lighting to the side of the bridge, and the community just really loves that. It's really popular. They put American flag on the side of the bridge and make it do all kinds of different stuff. So that was a big part of the aesthetics for this project. This just kind of shows the blue dots is the city's mobility path that the city has, and then just the red dots show that from the proposal. This is a shared use path that's going to connect that for the city. This is in the area of where 181 crosses 37. There's going to be the shared use path that goes through the existing T.C. Ayers Park, which is kind of a little shot of that. This is just kind of a zoomed in picture of some of the aesthetic things we'll have with the planters in the area that'll make it look nice. This is a little further to the east where 37 hits Broadway Boulevard. There near Broadway Boulevard, they're proposing a community plaza. And here's a shot of that, which it will have a water feature in the center. It's going to have a wind harp. There's a structure at the center of the water structure, the water feature, that'll be an energy generating wind sculpture. And something that's a little hard to see on the left side, but it spells out Corpus Christi. It's a thematic bike rack. And basically it's the way the tubing is on there, it'll spell out Corpus Christi, and you'll be able to park your your bikes there. This is just a rendering of the belvedere that's going to be at the center of the bridge. It's going to be just a little area. They'll have some benches up there and some windbreaks, because due to the height up in the air, it's going to be probably pretty windy up there. So that'll be a nice place if you can make that long walk to sit and have a view of the water in the Lexington. And this is probably what most people are here for. This is a rendering of what the bridge is going to look like if you're sitting at Whataburger Field on the first baseline. Here is what it will look like, a rendering at the nighttime with the lighting. This will be if you're driving across it. For those of you that have driven maybe the Fred Hartman Bridge in Houston, on that one the cables come to the outside, so you're driving kind of through a tunnel of cables. All the cables are in the center, so you will have just clear sky above you. Getting into the lighting concepts, there's LED lights at the top of the towers. You know, they can put American flag and different things with the LEDs on there. Some of the specifics for it. The actual bridge will be about 3/4 of a mile west of the existing bridge. It's going to be a concrete segmental bridge, and between the pylons it'll be 1,655 feet. And then the end spans on the either side of the pylons will be another 815 feet for a total length of 3,285 feet of the actual New Harbour Bridge. The pylons will be 538 feet tall, and it's going to provide 205 foot of clearance to the water from the bottom of the bridge. To help you get a perspective, at the old bridge you have the bridge deck and then the trusses, the metal trusses that go above that. I think we're within like 3 to 5 feet of that entire existing structure sliding underneath the new bridge. So, and then on the north side, the approach structure is going to be 3,760 feet. South side will be almost 5,500 feet. And so we'll have a total from abutment to abutment, it's going to be 12,503 feet of bridge. So if you decide you want to make the walk to the Belvedere in the center, bring some comfortable shoes. Our polling's not working again. The question was going to be, with a span of 1,655 feet, you know, what will, is the bridge going to be the longest cable stay, main span cable stay bridge in Texas, the United States, the Western Hemisphere, or the world? There should have been a pretty good, easy answer for y'all, because the general kind of gave away the answer this morning if you're paying attention. It's going to be the longest one in the United States. Basically, it's the longest main span cable stay bridge in the U.S. It'll be the longest main span concrete cable stay bridge in the U.S. It'll be the third longest main span cable stay bridge in the Western Hemisphere, the second longest mainstay concrete cable stay bridge in the Western Hemisphere, and the third longest main span cable stay bridge in the world, behind one in Norway and the Panama Canal. Okay, I'll hurry along here. One thing that the commission challenged us with on this project was to incorporate sustainability into the project. And so basically sustainability is just a kind of a way to balance the economic, environmental, and the social values for the project. And we decided to go with the INVEST program. It's FHWA's program, and basically it's just a web-based program that helps you kind of balance all of those and integrate them into the project. It has 3 modules: the systems planning, project development, and operations and maintenance. The systems planning includes stuff like the state's long-range plan. We did not use that module. We did include the project development, which is basically the design and construction, and then the operations and maintenance part of it. Quick timeline, we had first a workshop in July 2014 to learn about the INVEST program and how it all worked. And then we did, in August, we had a pre-scoring workshop where TxDOT, we got together, went through the different criteria in the program to develop what levels we thought we could hit for the 2 different modules. And then we had to incorporate those into the RFP. This is kind of, it shows that to get a platinum rating, you have to have 60% of the total points that you think you could achieve, or the perfect score, 50% for gold, 40% for silver. And basically, after we did our workshop, we set the level for design and construction as a platinum level, and silver for the operations and maintenance. The Flatiron Dragados team came back and they committed to basically hitting platinum for both the design, construction, and the operations and maintenance part of it. So after we got the proposals, those commitments that they made to achieve those 2 levels is put into the contract. And these are just a few pictures we have of some of the things they included, like all LED lighting. Back there at the little, the picture with the water feature and the paths, they have solar powered path lighting with solar brick pavers. They had energy generating wind sculpture. They're using high strength, low permeability concrete, and they had like the benches along the project are made out of recycled material. Anyway, that is it in a nutshell. Anybody have any questions? Yes, sir.
Were all the main lanes that were approaching the bridge running
Yeah. The question is, are the main lanes on,
All the main lanes approaching the bridge, will be all available, except
Yes.
the hurricane tidal flood stage.
are there all the lanes approaching the bridge above hurricane tidal flood stage?
Yes, sir.
I know,
It's a hurricane evacuation route.
yeah, I believe so. Does anybody believe so?
Yeah, I'm assuming we got the,
Yeah. I'll follow up and send me an email and I'll follow up with you for sure, but I believe so. Anybody else have any more questions? Yes, sir.
What's the impact to ship traffic? Is it gonna get, I assume, much bigger?
Yeah, the question is, what is the impact to ship traffic? Currently, you know, some of the newer vessels coming through the Panama Canal, I think they're called Panamax vessels. Before, they would not be able to come into the bridge, into the port with 138 foot of clearance. With a 205, they will be able to start utilizing the port of Corpus Christi. So much bigger vessels will be able to start using the port. Yes, sir.
What's the intent to dredge that out wider when they remove the old bridge? Because I noticed it's kind of a choke point in the canal.
The question is there a plan to dredge out, make the channel wider at the point where the existing bridge is today? If you're out there and familiar with it, the harbor is very wide, but right there where the bridge is, both points kind of come into the harbor. At this time, no, we're not going to make that any wider. We're just going to be removing the bridge and providing the additional vertical clearance. Yes, sir. He asked if I can share any information about the construction schedule. Right now, we're still working through the environmental process. We don't have environmental clearance yet. So once we get that, we will issue NTP1 when construction or design will start. And then after that point, about 5 years to end construction.